All that's left is a band of gold. All that's left is the dream I hold in a band of gold with the memories of what love could be. If you were just here with me, since you've been gone, all that's left is a band of gold. All that's left is the dream I hold and a band of gold and the memories of what love could be if you were just here with me. Oh, hitting y'all with that Frida Pain. That is from like, woo, 70, 71. That's, going back. Oh, yeah, that's not working. Okay, that's better. Oh, went out of sequence, huh? Sorry, that's the same thing. It might have been something working against me. Oh, yeah. Blue Argonite, baby. Blue Argonite for you. Sending all that blue Argonite energy out to everybody. Thank you. Killing my shoulder, though. What my homegirl Anita Becker say? Been so long, missing you, baby. It's been so long. Oh, shit. Well, here we go. Another super funky night with your one and only Big Pontiac. 8 Win. Time Lord Osceola. I am the one and only. And this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. And I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game created by the Hero Twins. And I'm also your galactic daddy-o, welcoming each and every one of the chocolate mountaineers on this very galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight we are drinking again Boulder beers, the shake. So pop them if you got them. And look at all this golden dark amber mixed with the chocolate. Don't you wish you were me right now? Just don't you wish you were me to enjoy this chocolate? Shake beer. Oh, look at that. And I done got bonged out, so smoke them if you want them. I done bonged out, so Ethan, how do you doing? What they say with Bootsy, sing it, baby. Or the George Dukes, sing it, baby. Marcus, how you doing tonight? Hey, Lobo, great breakdown tonight. Great show. Great show. I enjoyed it. Vlog Gaming Magic. Packer fans always complaining about the Packers never drafting the first round receiver. Even my friends are contemplating. I ain't watched that shit. Okay, she gonna come over by me eventually. So he'll keep fucking with her. He did something to fuck with her. Yeah, I didn't watch that bullshit tonight. It was a picture. I'm gonna tell you what the draft is. It was a picture of Rick Ross, and Rick Ross was signing maybe Gucci Mane, and the look on his face of disgust of what you signing the people into. Now, yes, it is life changing, and the money's great, and you get to fulfill. Some get to fulfill. Some get to fulfill. But it's like Lobo said earlier, it's plays. They still playing, you know. Draft is boring. Yeah, it's boring. It's boring. I mean, think about it, in '83, it was like two drafts. It was the USFL draft, and then it was actually the NFL draft. Dan Marino was also drafted by one of the USFL teams, and he didn't take the money. I mean, Jim Kelly and Steve Young. I don't know if y'all remember, Steve Young was given $40 million back in '83. You know, they had to give him companies. The dudes that signed him, they gave him businesses that was part of this $40 million. Plus, this dude was a lawyer. And Steve Young ain't no little dude. He about 6'5". Nice, big guy. But him and Jim Kelly got the money before they went into the NFL. Doug Flutie was another one. That's why you saw a lot of hate on Doug Flutie. That's why you think Herschel Walker is Republican. Uncle Imbecile owned the Generals at that time. Heard something outside. Maybe somebody threw something away. But yeah, the draft ain't worth watching. I mean, the first round to see what they wearing, and then that's it. What was the one draft was funny. What was the one draft? And all these draft dudes is already wearing diamonds. Now you can rent jewelry, of course, but it was just so funny. And the people started commenting like, "Wait a minute, these dudes ain't got paid yet. How are they all stepping up and wearing big diamond bracelets? You know, $30,000-$40,000 Rolexes on for the draft?" And again, you can rent anything. But you know, some of them kind of they scaled that back. If y'all remember me, if you remember, they scaled some of that back. Now it's on the suits. You know, they emphasize the suits because these dudes ain't got no money yet. Now today, the dudes who got drafted in the first round today, they fly to their towns and they go get their bonuses, sign their contracts, get their bonus. And that's what football is about, is getting the money up front. That's kind of what it's always been about. Contracts been lesser than the other, but they get paid better bonuses. The bonuses are larger. But in some instances, like Barry Sanders and Metatron, they made them pay them bonuses back. Barry Sanders had to pay back $11 million because he retired early. $11 million. thought maybe they would take loans because they are expecting to get paid. Of course. Of course. Of course. They're going to take the loans. Who you think loaning it to them? The agents. Agents. Wasting money buying that shit. You don't know what you're buying. Hey, Valerie, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Yes, of course. It was Cadillac Records, you know, where he wasn't paying them, but he was buying them cars. Dude had to go beg to get a house. Well, you know, a woman want a house. Remember, he couldn't even go in there like a man. He didn't want a house. He said his woman wanted a house. Remember that in Cadillac Records? Muddy Waters? Well, Vanilla need a house. Don't you need a house? Hey, PJ, what's happening? What's happening? Black Trunks, how you doing, man? Thank you. Thank you for that. That's really, really smooth. Now, you know, it's funny. I was on, I ain't going to say who live it was, but a dude brought up, now, calling the NFL draft and the combine slave things, that came from the 80s. And I remember about 3-4 years ago, I heard somebody bring that up. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, that came back from the 80s where people was looking at the combine as a type of cattle, you know, in slavery. But I remember hearing somebody say that like 3-4 years ago, and I just kind of laughed to myself. Like, yeah, that wasn't original, baby. Other people been saying that. Other people been saying that. Raiders. Raiders. Who did the Raiders get? Again, I didn't watch that shit. Who did the Raiders get? I forgot that shit was on. I know, I think through Lobo, I heard that didn't the Jacksonville get the defensive end from Michigan? They've been pushing him. Hey, King Kane, what's happening? I know they was pushing him, and they pushed back the dude who was number one before he got hurt in the beginning of the season was a brother from Oregon. Same position, rush in. What, nine technique? 9 technique, something like that. Team, yeah, Detroit got Hutchinson. Okay. Oh, Detroit took Hutchinson. Detroit had the first pick, or they traded for the pick? Hutchinson from Michigan, right? Might go through a couple beers tonight. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, they showed Barkley. Barkley called that earlier. Barkley said that. Yeah. Chris Paul dropped 33 tonight in Game 6. Well, not only that. 1 point, Chris Paul was 13 for 13. And then he ended up 14 for 14. That's the video I showed. 14 for 14. They finished the game shooting basically 60%. They shot 60%. You had the Pelicans shooting 53%. You had Chris Paul going 14 for 14. Ayton went 13 out of 15. 1 point, he was 10 for 12. Yeah, I want to think Ayton went maybe 8. Yeah. So Ayton was at 10, 11. He was 12 out of 14. So yeah, Chris Paul going 14 out of 14. Ayton was 12 out of 14, 59%, 60% technically. Not believable for Jacksonville. Trevon Walker, he was the first pick. For Jacksonville. Okay, thank you. So he did go, okay. I see you for Jacksonville. Okay, I got you. The numerology is that Suns was going crazy tonight. All right. Chris had a lot of help. Oh, definitely a lot of help. It was like, I really, I'll be doing so much when the game be on that I missed. He shot another layup that was even worse. That mug took a real high bounce and bounced in. So I missed that one. What did he say? Vlog gaming music. What's happening? Doing Raiders did not get a first round pick. The Packers took their pick at 22 and got a crappy player. the third overall rated linebacker could have got 1 or 2. Wow. Wow. Well, that's how the scripting is. Hey, Conspiracy, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Only one quarterback taken in the first round. That CB3 shot was so obvious in that video. It was another one though. It was another one he took, and I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. The game was on, but I'm doing a bunch of stuff. Matter of fact, I was listening to Lobo, more listening to Lobo's show than I was watching the game. I just wasn't paying attention to the game. Be doing 2 or 3 things at once. But I saw the highlights. I was like, oh shit, that one. So it was a couple shots they gave him help with. But yeah, that one where you just saw he was tired and he just didn't put enough energy. Oh, the last shot for Dallas tonight. Did y'all check that out? The last shot? No. Utah's last shot. He ain't trying to make that. They didn't even manipulate it to make him miss. He just missed. I mean, if you get to see that again, watch it. He just did not put energy. Well, I'll say this. He meant to hit the side of the rim, and that's what he hit. That's what he hit. It did not look like they manipulated as far as the missile part, where, the launch. And I've never really said this before, but it may be even a type of missile gyroscope, maybe even is related. It's hard to say, but the technology of the missile that moves the ball. And I've said this before, and maybe I need to remind. I even think they can deflate the ball while it's moving like that too. Now I know the ball can, when the ball hits the bat, like if I go to dunk it and I slam it real hard on the rim, the ball will give, but there's other instances where it seems like they can inflate and deflate the ball. So I wanted to put that out there. But yeah, that last shot for the Jazz, it didn't look like he tried to make that. Just did not. Shot it short on purpose. Yeah. Absolutely. Shot it short on purpose. I have no doubt about that. He shot it short on purpose. You could see it. You could just see in the way he followed through that he wasn't trying to make it. I can't believe Malik Williams wasn't drafted in the first round. He's clearly a better prospect than Kenny Pickett. Wow, Black Trunks. Wow. Crawley traveled on purpose too at the end. PJ was saying maybe he got pushed. He got bumped a little bit, but I thought I thought he just turned it over on purpose. That's what I thought. Luca irked my nerves with those silly faces. Oh, yeah, and sticking out his tongue, all that. Tomorrow night should be a good game. Yeah, Grizzlies Timberwolves should be a good game. It's the only game, so it'll be a good one. Why do you think they will give the Buckets will they give the Bucks back to championship? I don't think so. Just like I didn't think Philly was out it, like everybody was saying. I'm not surprised. He was riding his leg. Luka was taunting. Yeah, Luka was definitely taunting. However, Luka does not have that Nazi cut. You notice that? He got rid of that Nazi cut. Somebody must have said something because his hair is looking funky. When he had the Nazi cut, it was clean. But his hair is looking funky. It's like he wants to keep it low, but he don't know because they like, no Nazi cut. Now somebody put in the thing that he was a Czech, but he's Slav. He's from Slovakia. Is that what they call it? He's a Slav. He's Slavic. So somebody put that he was Czech. Well, Czechoslovakia. Okay, yeah, okay. That's what it used to be called. Czech, Slavs. Okay, kind of the same thing. No more Nazi cuts. No more Nazi cuts. I'll tell you, I don't even want to really say this, but I'll say it. You know what mercenaries are. I'm going to put it like that. Y'all know what mercenaries are, and y'all know what Nazis are, right? Everybody knows what Nazis and everybody knows what mercenaries are. And there are a group operating right now. There's a group right now that's supporting mercenaries, and they support the Nazis right now. American taxpayer money are helping Nazis. So hope they don't strike me for saying that, but it needs to be said. Well, what Flavor Flav say? Don't believe the hype. Slovenia. Okay, Slovenia. Slovenia. Yeah, they called it the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia. I grew up with a girl, I want to say from Romania. I don't know. I forget where she was from. Her name was Lona. And my boy Rich used to say, Lona, do you want my boner? He used to say that shit to her in 7th grade. She would just laugh. And I remember I said it to her. She said, only Rich can say that to me, because we all used to say that shit to her. But anyway, she was from a country that didn't even exist when we were children. It was the Soviet Union had taken it over. That's why her and her sister and brother. Lona, and I don't know what happened to Lona. I saw her when I was a senior last time. I saw her sister like 4 or 5 years later. And I was like, where's Lona? How's she doing? She's like, nobody ever asks about her anymore. That's funny. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to Lona. Hey, that's a conspiracy. There you go. And they don't have him as a Slav instead of the Dallas abbreviation of DraftKings. I found that weird. Interesting. Wow. Salute. Wapo, what's happening? Let's get those. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you silly. See, PJ, you silly. Well, that's what somebody put there. It's like, why are you putting Eastern Bloc? Well, Czechos or the Czech Republic ain't that far. It's kind of in the Eastern Bloc, but okay. Wasn't it? Okay, the Eastern Bloc was the Soviets. Right? Am I right or wrong? Eastern Bloc areas was the Soviet areas. So they were within the Soviet area. So that's still Eastern Bloc, but that's okay. That's okay. But look it up. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Oh my goodness. Let me discuss y'all. Oh my goodness. I wrote her name down. I meant to talk about this yesterday. So you guys can look this up, but this happened not far from here. This happened within 45 miles from here, 50 miles, I think. But a little 10-year-old, I got a 10-year-old. 10-year-old little girl was murdered. Murdered, and well, first she was missing, and then they found her out in the woods. They arrested a 14-year-old little boy that admitted that he killed her and he molested her, raped her. Said he hit her in her stomach, started beating her in her head with this giant stick. I don't know if he raped her when she was dead or he raped her when she was hurt, but he did end up killing her and threw her body in the local river, I guess. But her name was Lily Peterson. They are not releasing the young boy's name. Now, my ex and I were getting into this. I felt that they had rode bikes and they had went in the woods before, because now my ex was saying they were riding bikes through a wooded area to her home, that she met him. Well, they knew him, but apparently she was at her aunt's house. The story is he was going to ride her home, but this is what they said. They said that while he was thinking about riding her home on the bike, or, they're both riding bikes, that he had planned on raping her and killing her. Now, that just doesn't sound normal. So how did she get off her bike? Like, did he run into her and make her get off the bike? Because you can keep, imagine you going home, you can keep up a pretty good pace. Her body was found in a park-like setting near some water. Yeah. But you guys can look that up. They have not released the boy's name. His lawyer was trying to get him out on $100,000 bond, which would have been roughly 10 grand. But the prosecutor said, no, we want him in there for $1 million, and the judge granted it. The judge granted it, so the boy's not getting out. He's in a juvenile facility, apparently. But yeah, this is some crazy shit. And I have to tell young women, young girls, I'm telling my daughter, it's like you can't really trust hardly anybody. You can't really trust anybody. I think Super Sly says it the best. You have to look at your surroundings. You have to. Even as a man. I mean, I've caught motherfuckers staking out for me and peeped them out just because I paid attention. I was like, these motherfuckers is here waiting. Okay. I ain't gonna fight. Here I am. Peeped them out. They was trying to, lay back in the cut. I'm like, okay, here I am. What do you want? But you have to look at your surroundings. And you have to teach children the same thing. You don't really want to have children be in a situation where they're isolated. And fight like hell. Fight like hell. But that sounds good. But when you get stunned, it's hard for some people when they get stunned to operate. It's one thing to say fight like hell, but if you get stunned, a lot of normal people, they lose it. Be stunned and just lose it. No fight back. So just wanted to throw that out there. Forgot to mention that last night. Yeah. Hey, Smooth Mix, what's happening? Yeah, that was in Wisconsin. Yep, that was in Wisconsin. Yeah, very unfortunate. Absolutely. Hey, Smooth, nice to see you. Yeah, it was her 14-year-old cousin that did it. Yeah, that's been kind of back and forth. Was they related? But yeah, it's terrible. It is. Oh, they did release his name. Then that was today, because as of 5 o'clock, I hadn't heard his name. Okay, you said they finally released his name. Can you imagine being the parents? Carson Peters Berger. Wow. Okay. Wow. Can you imagine being his parents? Carson Peters. See, they giving them the 3 names. Anytime you see that 3 names, something up. She was probably sacrificed. Wow. Thank you, vlog. Thank you. Yeah, shit like this fucks with me. I wish I didn't care so much sometimes. I be really feeling that shit. Nah, it's even worse for me. I gotta look at it. It's even worse for me because I gotta look at it. Just because I heard about it, it's hard for me not to even see it. Yeah. Because when she first came up missing, right then, I'm going right to where she's at. And I'm just like seeing that stuff. And I'm like, damn. And then the whole story's coming out. And I have to see every second of it, how it built up. Yeah. It's not good. Not good. It's her cousin. Hey, Mo Preen, thank you for joining me. Very kind words. Thank you. Definitely, I always do that. That's outside of the guns. I have knives in weird areas of my house, property. I ain't playing. Nah, it is sad though. Yeah. It is. And like I am rarely without a gun. Rarely. And if I don't have a gun, like PJ said, I got knives. I got plenty of knives. I always carry knives. Even when I carry guns, I carry knives. I'm a knife person. So even if I carry guns, I still got a knife. So just kind of a habit. I'll be with my son and if something come up where we had to cut something, he's like, I know you got a knife in your pocket. I'm like, this. That's real talk. A strange man tried to lure me with Pokemon cards when I was about 7. Walking home, I ran faster than Boat, creepy white guy that jumped out of the bushes. Scary. I told you when I was 12, this 39, 40-year-old woman tried to give me something when I was 12 years old. And I told her the full story. My 15-year-old cousin ended up being with her for 20 years. He was all into her and shit. And she wasn't pretty. She was cool, though. She was cool. But before I met the chick, she had kidnapped this other young boy that I was going to school with. I remember I met the weirdo like one time she kidnapped. I think his name was Jack. But he just showed me the weirdest shit. It's like, maybe I saw him a day or two, he's riding the bus. He had, how do I even describe this shit? He had what looked like a bottom half of a doll. And not even a doll. It was like it looked like some shorts, just some, like somebody had made a stuffed animal, just shorts, and a little bit of leg, but it like where the zipper came down and you could pull the dick out. That's the kind of shit this weirdo showed me. Come to find out, she had kidnapped him from another state, but they didn't get her for that. They came and got the boy, took the boy back from wherever they came from. I think it was Indiana. And that was it. They ain't do nothing to her for taking him. So I was in high school. I learned how to hold that razor blade in my mouth like the New York boys. I don't know. I stole one of my mother's knives when I was younger, and when I was walking, I had her knife. 14-year-old's father was a pedo, and had child porn on his computer, and in prison in the past for crack pipes as well. He already had a bad upbringing. Damn, let's read that again. The 14-year-old's father was a pedo and had child porn on his computer, and in prison in the past for crack pipes. Wow. Damn, he was messed up. Wow. Damn. Damn. And so my best friend because our daughters are 2 weeks apart. They're both 10. And it's like, yeah, you really can't trust anybody, and you really have to be, on point and pay attention to your surroundings. That's the most I could tell everybody. It's like they were showing, they pushing this crime stuff, this purge. They pushing this. So you think that certain cities ran by a certain party is worse than they cities, when you can see attacks. It's not necessarily attacks by the people who live there. You can see outside influences. We've been seeing that for the past 2-3 years. Outside influences, influencing this stuff. And women getting their purses snatched. I've seen a purse. How can I describe this? I saw a purse the lady had, and she could hold her purse and be holding her pistol at the same time. It was like where the handle was, so she could have the purse on her arm, and she could be holding her pistol like this as she walked. I don't know if y'all ever saw that, but it's like she had a spot right here where she was holding her pistol, but it looked like, she had her purse up here, but I guess it was a slot in there, and she could hold her pistol while her purse was on her shoulder. And so somebody grab your shoulder, you can say that's a threat, and stand your ground, as they say. He was a crackhead, pedo, dirty bastard. Yeah, look up Daily Mail. This is their article. Okay, vlog. Thank you. Wow. I know more will come out during the trial. The whole situation is crazy. Damn, it is beyond crazy. It's sick. The father was a kid, had a bad influence. Yeah. Don't worry, the purge will start in Texas. Well, hey, Ethan, that's what they showed on the movie. That's what they showed in the movie, that the rebellion started in Texas. This is how you know it'll be attacked by the federales. Because if it starts in Texas, Texas is the most armed state in the world. That is why they would want to attack Texas first. Texas would have the ability to fight them. What's it called? What is it called? Man in the High Castle. If they did this fake thing and said they lost to China, and said that China killed our Pacific fleet and the Chinese invaded, that would be only if they let them. That would only happen if they let them. And then, of course, if China did come in like that, they would take Texas first. They're the most heavily armed. They already have the biggest San Jose. Isn't San Jose the biggest wet port in California? On not counting, the San Diego area, but isn't San Diego? Clinton sold that to the Chinese years ago. Years ago, Chinese own that port that runs directly into our rail lines across the country. Clintons did that. Look it up. I don't believe in being rehabilitated. Yeah, sometimes they can't. Yep. Eighth and Bede should destroy Miami. Hey, B. Brown, he should. They pushing all their agenda basically out on the open now. It's time to play. It kind of seems like that. Hey, Silva, thank you for joining me, brother. How you been? They need to shoot him in the head. Well, they have a firing squad. Remember Gary Gilmore? They did Gary Gilmore like that. Shot him in firing squad back in, I think it was Utah. Shot him by firing squad. You know, in World War II, they would, if you deserted, you know, it was a dude, like, it was like the end of World War II, a dude that deserted. And it was like the fighting was over. And they still killed him because he deserted over in Europe. They caught him and they killed him. Eisenhower did that. And they tried to bring it up when Eisenhower ran for president and people wasn't paying attention. The fighting was basically over. I watched a TV movie about it, and it was like, even there, it was foul. Even watching it then, it was like, this is kind of foul. So, Megan admitting to drinking blood. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, that goes back into, what is the dude, the guy in Jaws? What was Salt's name, y'all? What was Salt's name? Her and Billy Bob Thornton. Remember, they had vials of blood they was wearing. They had vials of each other's blood around their neck, so you could tell they was still in the ritual stage. So that ain't nothing new. Yep. Right. Annihilate them. Yeah, I agree. Only certain states have that anymore. Cruel and unjust. It's not cruel and unjust. Certain things they need to. Now, you know, the rap is always that the melanated people get the worst of it because when shit happens, we don't have the best lawyers. You know how that go. Angelina Jolie. Thank you, Valerie. Yeah, her and Billy Bob Thornton had the blood was wearing around their necks. And said they had, you know, gave each other their blood and also licked their blood. If y'all remember that. And this is probably 20 years ago. But you could tell that he, like Halle Berry and Ric Flair. Even when Ric Flair was young, does it seem like Halle Berry would go for somebody like that? A lot of people out in the music and Hollywood, it's the Temptations are trying, the Violators are trying to come back. Yeah. I can't say I really disagree with that. I mean, if he was a cousin, to think that is the only way you can get some in the world is that you have to murder somebody. Don't get that part. That your sexual appetite is greater than your empathy. There's no empathy there. That's a psychopath. And if he planned it out, yeah. You could tell Angela Lee about that sick life. Of course. Megan and the Machine Gun Kelly. But yeah, Lobo, of course you can tell. They all go through the ritual. You know, John Voight. That's right, her daddy, John Voight. Yeah. Practically was a ritual. Yeah. Well, yeah. When the three girls killed a young girl and tried to blame it on something the media made up. Same thing. You can see it was ritual involved in that type of thing. I mean, this thing really caught me quite surprised because it's so close. And, you know, you don't really hear where the Europeans kill each other like that. It'd be but such a young person attacking a young person. Yeah, you don't hear about that a lot. Very well could have been ritual. Could be more involved. You might even think it's somebody else involved. You never know. You never know. You never know. All you can do is train your children and the people you know, because adults too, be aware. You got to be aware. When you walk around, be aware. I mean, I'm the kind of dude that, hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? I sit there. If I see somebody looking at me too long, I'm like, do I know you? You looking at me like you know me. What's on your mind? I'll tell somebody. Like, don't look at me. What you looking at me for? What, you know me? You know me from somewhere? You trying to figure out where you know me? I'm very frank. I've told people for years, why are you talking to my child? You don't know us. What are you talking to my child for? I've pushed people out of restaurants before. Like, what's wrong with you? You don't talk to my children. What's wrong with you? Do I got to take you outside and beat your ass? Hey, how you doing, Lorenzo? Thank you for joining. Now, Megan is saving her oldest son to wear glasses. Coincidence. Hey, Crazy Sarge, how you doing? I wish I could chat tonight, but don't have sound for the past couple of weeks. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Wow. Okay. Megan's also openly admitted to be a man. That goes into, what was his name? 100%. What was it? Mag. 100%. She openly admitted. Jessica Iva. What was her name? Jessica. Yeah, she's admitted. Megan's out high, losing their minds. These Megans out here losing their minds. They are similar sounding to the girl named Jan Benet Ramses. Yes, very much so. And that family had a cottage up in northern Michigan. Okay, take care. Say less. Thank you. Yeah, Jessica Alba. Same. They say the same thing about her. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, they get mad about Sabrina, but there's no way you can look at that person and think that person is a woman. I mean, it's just no way. And it's no disrespect, but it's a thing called a horse face. Jessica or Sabrina has a horse face. I mean, she has the strong line of a horse. You know how horses have that strong line, that strong jaw line? That's what people mean. You have that strong jaw line, like, a horse has a strong jaw line. That's why they say horse face. And that's what we have with Sabrina. I mean, you if you don't look at that and think, and this show ain't about that. It ain't about that. But to me, that's a travesty that this person gets that much exposure. And anybody can do anything. And, people talking about playing tennis. Well, remember, Dr. Renee Richardson is all you got to think of. When you look to tennis, Dr. Renee Richardson, who was a trans person, was allowed to play professional tennis back in the late 70s, early 80s. So the league was created for that. And the same thing with the WNBA. It was funny. You notice they just brought a soldier back from Russia and they traded it. Did you guys hear this? They traded a Russian convicted dope dealer, got caught with a bunch of heroin in New Jersey, for this soldier, not Brittany Grimes. So they gave him back the dope dealer. They got the soldier back. They didn't bring Brittany back. I don't know if y'all caught that. They're still working on it. So I guess they're trying to figure out who they can trade for Brittany. But she must be the all-time dumbest person in the world. I mean, really? You had to have it like that? Makes you think she did it before, and this time somebody dropped a dime on her. Or she had did it before and they let her pass. So they knew she would have it again since they let her do it before, and this time she got pinched. Jennifer Gardner is also one. Just peep those Capital One commercials. I never really looked at her too tough anyway. The mag is so funny though. That was a funny dude. 100%. Oh my goodness, he was a funny dude. And like he was roasting everybody, but King Micah roasted the shit out of him. Oh, he of all the persons the mag went after, he had no smoke for King Micah. King Micah gave him all the smoke. And yeah, Mag quit messing with King Micah. He what about friends on Facebook? He got a YouTube. He don't hardly do work anymore though. One Megan talking about drinking blood, and the other one out here saying Negro in a car pointing and shooting guns at her foot, saying "Dance, bitch, dance." And that's remember Platoon. Remember Platoon with Charlie Sheen? They went in there and the lady was protecting her son who was retarded and he only had one leg. And Charlie Sheen was telling him to dance, or one of the other crazy Platoon people, and they were shooting at the dude with one leg. And then they ended up killing him, busting his head open. Y'all remember that in Platoon? Yes, I thought about that when I saw that. They could have did a 2-for-1 special. Badly, that's funny. Hey, Chiefs guy, do you listen to Bootsy? Oh, all I'd like to do would be good to you. And if you hang up on me now, I'll be through just living and a loving, waiting for the moment. If you got time to kill, if I can't get your love, what's the telephone bill? I told you I was up in Pittsburgh with my cousin. I was like 17. He's about 24, 25. And we went into a bar and they put up that, they started playing that Wind Me Up. Boom, wind me up. Oh, I grabbed a girl and before I knew it, all the club was jumping. It was like, you guys ain't dancing to this Bootsy? So yeah, I love some Bootsy Collins. I love some Bootsy Collins. Women named Megan are crazy from experience. I don't think I ever knew a girl named Megan. Maybe a little girl when I was older, but yeah. Platoon was crazy. Was based, yeah, crazy. It was based on. It was a lot like the movie his daddy did with Marlon Brando in it. About, it was very much the same kind of deal. Narrator. So, but it gave a good understanding of what some of them had to face. I was watching some shit last night. And Hamburger Hill's another one. The one where the sergeant gets killed, which could have been potentially the best movie, The Battle of Way, but you don't really get that out of that one where they kill the sergeant. The movie will come to me in a minute. But it showed you boot camp at Paris Island. So, yeah. Just word. Yeah, so can you imagine being 18? They train you for about 8 months and they just send you in the jungle. And when they first sent you in the jungle with them M16s, they didn't work because you had to constantly clean them. They didn't tell you that. Not only that, cheap rim fires or cheap the firing. Let me get this right. The bullets were cheaply made. The government took a contract where the bullets was malfunctioning too. So you got these guns whereas the AK can fall in the water and it just keeps shooting. So they were literally giving these people guns that didn't work with ammunition that didn't work and forced them to give up their M1s, which was shooting 30-30s for a gun that basically shoots a 223. They said that soldiers don't need that long a bullet. And in the early Vietnam, them 223s wasn't even going through palm leaves. Wasn't even going through palm leaves. You know how many soldiers got killed because their guns jammed? 66, 67 when they forced them to take them guns? No, the years they're better guns, but not when they first came out. M14 was a more powerful gun, stronger round. 30-30 or 30, yeah, 30-30. Yeah. Ever seen the movie Soldier's Girl? Yeah, I think so. Wasn't that where they hung the dude in the end over in Germany, like Louis Till got killed? Was that it? Or maybe I'm wrong. We Were Soldiers is another good movie. That's an early battle early battle when we were soldiers. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, it is. But Soldiers Girl? No, you have to tell me which one that is. Was that the one where they court-martialed the dude and hung him in Europe? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You have to remind me. But I don't know the name, but that's what comes up is that movie. So I'm not sure which one you mean. So crazy ass sounds. Picking up all kind of shit. War is it is a hard thing to have a conception of. It really is. Combat. Like people explained to me, I had one dude I used to work with, and he went over there young. He said he went over there 17 because he was young when I knew him. You know, and this is 80, 81, no, probably 82 when I knew this dude. And he was young, really looked young, but he was a vet. And he was like, I mean, the way I was like, I asked him, I said, wasn't you scared? He was like, shit, I'm crazy. So that shit was for me. Yeah, they murdered him at the end. He was sleeping with a trans woman in boot camp. Okay. Yeah. I thought yeah. I thought, okay, yeah, I thought that was a movie. Yep. I remember that now. Yep. That's what I thought. Seems like I did watch that before. You know, Super Slide, I did a thing on Pat Tillman. You know, Pat Tillman complaining about why are we protecting poppy fields. And people don't forget Bill Clinton gave them heroin dealers over in Afghanistan $40-some million to not grow poppies. Not grow poppies. Okay. Hey, Pale Horse, how you doing? Good to see you. So these are things that have to be considered when you look at our government. These are things that have to be considered. And just how much more of your research you have to do. That was a good one. Now we just, touching on some subjects, we touch on the sports recap. I got to look if I made some money. I think I did. Yeah, I think I won my parlay tonight. Matter of fact, have to check. But this was a good day. I have to say this was a smooth day all the way around. It was really a smooth day. I'll say that. If I didn't mention it, yeah, I didn't tear my knee up. He did X-rays. He said, "Well, if you hurt it again, we'll get an MRI." But he said, "At this point, I don't think you need one." So he gave me the knee, the brace that goes right under your patella. They gave insurance bought them. And yeah, I'm gonna start playing pickleball again. So I feel good. I know what the weakness, and I need in both legs. So that's good. It's just we're gonna have rain for the next 5. We're gonna have rain until Monday. So it's gonna start raining tonight and not finish raining until Monday. Even though it's gonna get warmer rain. Like today was supposed to rain all day. It didn't. Megan on an uncastrated adult male horse. Hint, hint. I'll say that a tall, thick girl is kind of looked at a stallion. That's a thing too. I mean, I'll say that. That is kind of a tall, thicker woman. Some people would say my ex fit that because she was 6'2", had a big booty, well curvy. So when she was younger, I think probably times I referred to her because of that. So, I mean, you can say that. That's kind of a hood word too for a bigger, thicker girl. Taller though, usually taller, not just thick, but usually taller and thick would be a woman that you would call it. But yes, it is a male horse, no doubt. I'll agree with that. All right, put my water close. I kept thinking about your wild logo and the supersonic logo. Oh, okay. I guess the color's a little bit It's funny, people love Seattle, but they wouldn't get a new stadium, so that's why. Well, plus the dude who bought him was from Oklahoma, and he said that he was going to move the team. But Seattle is a great basketball town, so I think the next two towns. I think Lobo kind of hinted to this. The next two towns are going to be Vegas and going to be Seattle. Seattle's going to need a new stadium. So, but yeah, because remember, the North Stars used to be here. The Dallas Stars, the North Stars, they used to be here. I was here when they blew up, like where the Mall of America is and where IKEA, like IKEA is right across from the Mall of America, IKEA store. I think it's is it the only store? Might be the only IKEA store in Minneapolis, I think. But that's where the North Star used to be. That's where the old hockey arena was. They blew it up. And old Metropolitan Stadium where the Vikings played and the Twins played used to be where the Mall of America is. So they gave up the sports teams and got the mall. And it's hotels. The mall has two hotels connect to the mall now. And then Wolf Creek's Lodge is a water park, which is right next to it. But the Mall of America is trying to put them out of business because the Mall of America is trying to add a water park to their facility. So that Wolf Creek's Lodge has been fighting them. They've been fighting over that. Now, Megan looks a lot like Pam Grier. I don't think Pam Grier ain't that tall. But if you think Pam Grier, this is all you got to do is study Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor tells you, he says he used to go with a trans person. Well, if you hear the whole story, he talks about when he was in Peoria, Illinois, he said he was the only one that would fuck this man that dressed like a woman. This is what Richard Pryor tells you. But Richard Pryor also tells you when he was 6 or 7 years old, he was forced by a 15-year-old boy to go down on him. 15-year-old boy beat him until Richard did it. So sexually abused, lived in a whorehouse. But if you listen to him, you listen to his story, he tells you Paul Mooney knew he was going with this fine trans woman that he was going to marry. Now, I've had arguments I can't think of that one Yvonne chick that's out on YouTube. I can't think. And she's like, no, he was talking about, she tries to say it's the character that was end up being Velvet Doll in this movie. No, he's talking about Pam Grier. He says, I almost married her. Because they tell you when he marries Deborah, I think her name is Deborah, that he had his youngest son with, they thought the wedding was going to be between Pam and Richard. So they bring out a cake after Richard surprised everybody and married Deborah, I think was her name. And the cake said Pam and Richard. And then it was this Deborah chick that he ended up marrying when he came to the reception because everybody expected him to marry Pam. But that's out of his own words. So, where we thought, let me see, is it? Look up where we saw the video where we thought her ball, nothing but butt cheeks. Yeah. I think Sly shows that. Yeah. That was the name of my AAU team, North Stars. Female, but they do things like that all the time. Richard Pryor and Marlon messed me up. They talked about a roast with Robin Williams. Well, Marlon Brando was one of them corruptors. I was telling dudes in jail that Michelle and they was ready to jump on me. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, when they show that picture of her back when she's in that dress, and it's not trying to, people like, you're attacking our queens. That's what Sister Phoenix would always say. You got these people attacking our queens. Yeah, well, study your queens a little better, honey. Study your queens a little better. But that picture of Michelle with wearing that low with her shoulders, looked like you could put some pads on them suckers. Them shoulders were so big. So look who Obama helped. He ain't do nothing for the melanated people. He a new hope. What they used to say? Okay. Nothing to spill, because you know me. I drank it all. So I just knocked the glass over, which it shouldn't have done. But that's okay. But that's okay. Oh, 3 series, 4-2 today. Yes, Randy. I checked that out. Same thing tomorrow, 3-3. Yeah, I think I got money on the Timberwolves to win tomorrow. Timberwolves to win. I think the bet was Edwards getting above 20. What was the other bet? I forget. I had to look what I put down. They handpicked for a reason. Nobody calls their wife a male name 3 different times. No way. Yeah, that's a good point. But ain't nothing on accident. Remember that too. When you look at these things, ain't nothing accident. When they do this shit, they ain't slipping. They ain't slipping. They're telling you. People are always looking for a hero with our culture. Little so they know that they give us our heroes. Absolutely. Curtis Mayfield song, Moving On Up. He got a version, a live version, where he says, look to your leaders. Moving on up, moving on up. And that's an integration song. Remember the Jeffersons? We moving on up. Remember? To a deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up. Copy of Curtis Mayfield song. Curtis Mayfield song is definitely integration. Move up through integration. That's what Curtis Mayfield talking about. I see the Grizzlies advancing. Yeah, I think so too. Well, I'm looking at the marketing, and I don't know. The marketing, I can't really say that the marketing would be bigger for the Grizzlies. Can't really say. At this point, I don't know. Towns, and then they even gave Edwards a national commercial last couple of weeks. His commercial been nationally too. Ja has what, 1 national commercial, and Towns has been in 2 or 3. I don't know. I think in a way the Timberwolves are better marketing. But me and PJ been talking about them warm-up jackets with the big grizzly on the arm. And you can get the jackets like that. That shit is nice. That shit is crisp. That shit is crispy. With the grizzly, with the bear right here, that shit is nice. And me and PJ we had a conversation, and I didn't bring this up last night, and I'm gonna bring this up. Like, I always dress. Now, I dress sports-like, but I always dress. I always like jewelry. I ain't never buy jewelry. I ain't never buy shit to impress anybody else. Matter of fact, let me tell you this story about the first time I bought a Rolex. I bought a Tudor first. I bought a Tudor. Same Rolex makes Tudors, and it's perpetual motion. And I learned how to, the self-winder, put it in the self-winder before I bought a Rolex, because I want to know how to take care of it. Because, you don't get a self-winder, you got that Rolex, and you let that motherfucker sit around, it might take you a minute to get it back to working efficiently. You got to buy both. But I never bought that shit to say that this makes, I like my son to say, like, he got a belt for $200, and he said he was stunting on people. And I'm like the dudes who will tuck their pants in at the belt so they belt show. Now, the only person I knew that really mac with a belt was Elvis. Elvis had the big diamond encrusted belt buckle. So that's like, look like one of them wrestling championship belts. That was worth tucking your shirt in for. But the rest of that shit. But the point is, I wear shit because I like having the shit. I like dressing. I like wearing new shoes. I don't do it for my conception, like, well, I'm stunting on them, and no. And PJ said the same thing. It's just like fly all the time, look good because I like looking good. I'll go kick it with my daughter and her mother sometime, and we won't go nowhere but maybe Dairy Queen or something. and I'm wearing cologne, and I'm dressed nice. You rarely gonna catch me bummy. Like, you might catch me where I wear the pants of shame out to the trash. That's about it. But when I'm out in public, I'll wear some. You like I'll never stink, and that's one thing with my middle son. I have to always get on him. You stink. You gotta wash your pits when you get a certain age. Ain't like when you was younger, you can just throw on. No, you got to get them funk lords controlled. Or like Richard Pryor said, motherfucker be dancing and shit in the club and be like, God damn, who's funky? It's me. I love that song, especially the horns on that record. But I do sense integration with that record. Yeah. Oh shoot. Somebody did a mix and kept bringing that part back. I had that a long time ago where they just kept bringing those horns back with the mix. Yeah, I love that too. I love that too. No, Middleton means myself is going to get past the Bucks. I hope so. I'm not really caring for the Bucks too much. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. All true. Yep. We buy shit for us. Man, I ain't trying to, if you see me and think I look cool, then, or I'm smooth, look good, you play good. There you go, Yeah, and always wear clean drawers. You never know. That is true. That is true. There used to be a thing where the Vietnam War, mama was always getting on her son. It's like, you get killed over there, you better have clean drawers on. I can't remember where I got that from. Maybe it's a 70s show or something. I don't know. But I remember mama was telling the son, like, you get killed, you better have some clean drawers on. Yeah. Yeah, you can't. There's no excuse to have dirty clothes. Like, if you live in California, you live in Texas, where you just need to wash your clothes and you can hang them out. No excuse. No excuse. You don't really, you know what the old days they did? If you say you ain't got a washer and dryer, get you a pan and get you some, and you do that shit. That's what they used to do. That's how they used to clean clothes. I've done it in the past. Had to get me a thing, and I didn't have no money or didn't have a ride to go get my clothes. So I took them clothes out like that and washed them by hand, rinsed them by hand, and then hung them up. Because, I wasn't going to be funky for nobody. My mom always had me right. Used to have the women teachers always talking about how good I smelled. Mom said, if you always clean and smell good, someone gonna love you, son. Oh, that's beautiful. That's in my boys. That's what I used to that's what I used to tell my ex. I would tell my sons. I would look at them before they went out the house. Like, you represent us, and I ain't gonna have you looking like a bum. You're not gonna go to school looking like a bum. So I would look at them both, because generally, there was periods where I had to leave before they left. But their mama she knew what I was on. She was like, yeah, we're not having them looking like bums. I like looking good. That's a trait that Tauruses have. There you go. Shout out to the mamas. There you go. Washboard. Yeah, the washboards. Yeah, they still sell that shit. You can still get a washboard. So there's no excuse. I dated this woman, and I don't know why I dated her. She was fun, I guess, but she would wear all her clothes till the last one was dirty and then want to wash. She would use every dish in her house until they was all dirty. And so one day I went over there and I helped her wash clothes. Rick and I, my friend that's doing life in prison now, we helped her clean up the house. And then I looked at Rick. I'm like, man, I can't. What's wrong with her? She had like 3 children. She had a baby at the time. But she was cool. I guess, she was cool. I can say that's the only thing that I saw. She had a good trait. She was cool, but she was, and she ended up having a drug habit, but she changed her life around. I think she's a landowner in Mississippi. She got a big inheritance. And her brother, damn, I forgot her brother. Wow. I bet her brother has been in prison for 31, 32 years. Henry killed somebody at 16 or 17. And he was the goofiest, funniest dude. Shawnee's brother, Henry. Henry been in prison for 30 years, at least. I don't know if he's out. not back in Michigan, but forgot all about Henry. And he was funny, but got his hand on a gun and shot a dude. Life in prison. Yeah. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people. But experiences, that's all it is experiences. As I think back, friends, didn't make it because of drugs. Young guys got killed one way or another because of drugs. Look back at lives that destroyed, and I can look back to the people that made it. I said before, one of my good friends growing up did 10 years because he wouldn't snitch. He spent 40 to 50 in prison. Had to do all 10. No early release at 5 or 6. No, because he wouldn't do 10. He wouldn't snitch. He was forced to do 10 years. He had to do all 10 years for something like an 8-ball. Wasn't even that much. But they did the hard. The hard got, taxed harder, almost doubled in the powder. Yeah. What is Rick doing in life? Rick, I don't know what Rick did. Rick, what did he do? I don't know what he originally went in for, but his original sentence was 4 years. That was the original sentence. I was reffing somewhere and I saw one of my ex-players, Corey, and that's a whole story on Corey too. But Corey, I asked him, and this was funny. Corey was wearing a gold chain, and Corey had the gold chain connected with a safety pin. He's out in the public like that. And Corey was like, I would see Corey on the strip. But anyway, Corey said that this is secondhand. I don't know if this is true, but he said Rick killed somebody in prison. He originally went in for 4 years. I know that's what his sentence said, because you can look that shit up. And he was originally given 4 years. Now, Corey said that Rick killed somebody in prison, and he ended up getting life for that. Because I remember looking it up again, and he had no release date. And normally when you look at people and they don't have a release date, that means they get life. So, and Rick was really, really a fun guy. I hate that the coach didn't know anywhere we could have sent him to play, because he was good enough. But he was, he was my assistant coach when I coached JV. He was my assistant. He still hung with us, practiced and all that. But yeah. Now, what he went in for, I really don't know. All I could get out of his dad was that he said Rick got problems, and that's why he went to prison. Now, I've told this story before. So Rick and Junior, and at a point, Rick started getting high with his daddy, because Junior got high too. And Junior was Johnny's brother. I talk about Johnny worked at Post. Junior had to retire from General Motors, Fisher Body, where my dad worked. But so the feds was in town following people. They knew this one dude was a heroin dealer. This dude goes over to Rick's house, Rick and Junior's house. The guy goes into the basement, and the guy shoots heroin, ODs in their basement. So, the dude been in the basement forever. They finally walk down there, and they see the dude is dead. So they panicked, removed his body, drove his body over by the lake, the Kalamazoo River, and left it. Well, the cops was watching, so the cops knew, the feds knew that his car was at their house. So the original story was, and this is a true story. Now, I don't know, this was the original story that was told, and that's how Rick originally went to prison, because actually it was Junior's house and Junior's idea, but supposedly Rick took the rap. But Rick did something else too. So I don't know what else he did. I can't tell you. But my other good friend, E said he saw Rick climbing out of a window with a TV. Rick called, he called me. He was like, man, what's up with Rick, man? Rick was coming out the window with a TV. I'm like, I can't speak on that because I don't know. So that was the last time I'd heard about Rick. He called me. It was like, yeah, Rick was, I'm walking somewhere early in the morning and there he is coming out the window with a TV. So that was the last time I knew he was on the ground, was that incident. And he said, this is what's funny. He said that as Rick walked, he lowered himself or he had to jump out. I don't know how he took the TV, or maybe he left the TV and then pulled it out, I guess. And he was holding the TV and he spoke to E. He was like, hey, what's up, E? He said he walked down the street holding the TV. But he was such a fun guy, such a fun person. Yeah. I think, as I say, it starts with a gentle sadness. I have sadness for him because he had a lot more potential to be a little different. And it just wasn't a lot of a cat burglar. I guess so, a cat burglar. Yeah. But that was the last time I ever physically heard about him until he went to prison. And well, I know maybe it was another time they was at home and they was fucking getting high. I went over there to see him and they was just getting high, and I was like, yeah, this ain't my crowd. This ain't my crowd, because I'll say that's the last time I physically saw him. They was getting high. I went in there and they was getting high, and I was like, okay. So I walked out, pulled out, but that was that they was getting high the last time I saw him. I forgot about that, but yeah, but I think that was after E saw him. E saw him, and he said he's climbing out the window. So, and I never saw him again. Saw his mama, saw his brother. I see his brothers all the time. But it was three of them. He had a brother that at that point, he had a brother that had been in prison since he was 16 that I never met. He had another brother that was out for a little while. Then he went back in prison. So Virginia had three sons in prison. Yeah. Three sons in prison. Kenny was the only one out. Kenny was slightly younger than me. But shit, Rick would be 50 at least now. I think Rick and my brother, no, Rick was younger than my brother. So Rick would probably be, let me see, my ex-wife is 48. Yeah, Rick would have to be 50. He would have to be. If my ex-wife, he was older than my ex-wife, so Rick would be in his 50s. Yeah. So he's doing life in his 50s. But he's been in there since he was probably 22, 23. Yeah. But he's got to be 50 now. Yeah, because when I met my ex-wife, Rick was older. Rick was graduated. Yeah, so Rick was older than her, a year or two. Yeah, so... But a good guy that I said at one point, he was, yeah. The other thing is when all the laughter dies in sorrow. That's another part of it. When all the laughter dies in sorrow. That's another part. That's from Lance Rensel's book, which is a weird book about this football player that couldn't help flashing people. He played up here for the Vikings. He first did it when he was with the Cowboys. He went by a playground and flashed a group of playground people. And the only way he got caught is he was doing commercials. And the little girl saw him doing a shaving commercial and said, Dad, that is the person that whipped it out and showed us in the playground. So he got traded up here to the Vikings. He did the same shit up here. And then they finally put him out the NFL. Lance Rensel was his name. I want to say he went to Texas or Texas A&M, one of those, but I want to say Texas maybe. But he played with the Cowboys. But he wrote a book, and the name of it is When All the Laughter Died in Sorrow. And here's a further part to look up with Lance Rensel. He was married to a chick named Joey Heatherton that back then was one of the prettiest women in America. Of course, she was a European girl, but she was like one of the baddest European chicks out there. Look up Joey Heatherton. Look up Lance Rensel. You'll see Joey Heatherton, and you're thinking, now, wait a minute. You married to her? Why don't you just stay at home and show it to her? Why don't you get a big house and say, honey, you go on the other side of the house and I'll stay on this side of the house, and you wear something little girly or whatever, and we'll meet up in the hallway and I'll whip it out and I'll feel better. His MK must have malfunctioned. Look at Mom. He's a dude. He wore number 19 before Lance Allworth wore Lance Rensel. No, Lance Rensel might have been 13 for the Cowboys. If you watch a 68 championship, NFL, really, Lance Rensel was 13. I don't know what number he wore when he was with the Vikings. Don't know. But yeah. So yeah, that's what I would have did. I would have just flashed it to her. She'd have got tired all day. Be like, hey, check it out. Kept you from getting arrested. Be like, baby, I just need to pull it out every now and then. So, I'm just gonna pull it out during the day when we at home. And if that would keep you from going to jail, like, hey, honey. Like, honey, go knock on the door like you a stranger, and I'll open it and I'll show it to you. That'll make me feel better, and I won't want to go flash. So, who is it? Open the door and you just whip it out. Here you go, lady. That's how to keep the motherfucker healthy. That's how you keep him healthy. See, that's right there. That would have solved his problem. See, they could have came to me for some advice. I would have gave him that advice, and he would be out of jail, still playing pro football today, about 100 years old. Nico Panek, what do you think inspired some of the heuristic painting in 1800s, 1900s, LSD trips, or were they meditating to a higher level? Ooh, that is a deep, deep question. Well, let's go with the dude who figured out that you could make 1,000,000 dots, and out of these 1,000,000 dots, you could fashion a picture. So he can conceptualizing that one little dot in itself don't look like anything, but when you put them in different mathematical patterns, which end up being pictures, you got a picture. So a lot of these people really wasn't taking anything like that, but just the way they conceptualize things. Like if you look back at a lot of that art, is stuff kind of melting a little bit. Looks like it's melting. You didn't have to have things as neat in place. Like you really get into Picasso, what he was trying to put through. Because remember, when Picasso was alive, his paintings wasn't selling for shit. The same with Van Gogh. When they were alive, their paintings weren't worth shit. So I just think the way they conceptualized it just was a little bit enlightening in there. Now, some could have been taken acid, but most of them, it just, I don't know. It's like the stiff painting of somebody just standing there or doing the hidden hand. I think guys got tired of that. And I just think as a new possibility of the new ages came in, the imagination came in. So, a good question. But yeah, some of the shit, yeah, definitely. You can look at some of the early movies and kind of see that had to be some of that. But good question. Thank you, Nico. Have you ever met someone who was extra with everything, no balance? They either was 0, 100? Yeah, I do. I met people like that. I met people like that. Yeah. But that's almost like when a person has a manic attack, that's kind of what it is. You are either super up or you're super deep in. And so that's kind of something to kind of look at as people have problems. But yeah, I knew guys like that, either depressed, didn't want to do nothing, sit in a room, black curtains, or just the most hype person out there. So yeah, I knew cats like that. He was 19. Okay, he was 19. Okay, I couldn't remember. He might have been 13 with the Vikings, maybe. I could be wrong. Creative Solutions, my man. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Randy, we have no imagination, too much stimulation. They were bored and had imagination. Well, that's what a lot of the video games did. And let me tell y'all this. See, I tell y'all how one thing the flat plane people don't accept is they don't accept illusion with flat plane. Illusion goes on that. There's a commercial now that shows a flat plane. But this meta stuff is the same thing. This meta stuff is flat plane. It hit me today when I was looking at it, and I was like, this is the same type of flat plane illusion. So they're creating the flat plane. So meta is going to be strictly flat plane, the type of illusion that flat plane is. Because if you can tap into that, you'll see that the only way things can stand up from the flat plane is through illusion. That's why it's not 4D. You know, people 4D is the dimension of time. They want to put, you know, saying it's 4D. No. Flat plane is built up from illusion. That's the only way you can build up from something 2D is it has to be illusion driven. So do we live in a simulation that's that? It's doubtful. But meta is definitely the same kind of thing. It is flat plane. It puts you in flat plane illusion. So if I had mentioned that before. But no, yes, the video game takes away from the imagination. It's like when I was a child and I had the figurines of the G.I. Joes or even the little army men. You know, I would put the army men facing each other and roll marbles. And that's how to see who won. But to just take, you know, like a little G.I. Joe and you know, articulate it, bend it, and make it go through. As I said, I had the Captain Neo. I can make Flash, the Lone Ranger, Captain America. And yes, it's all superheroes of European superheroes. But, you know, we had battles with these things. And so this was nothing but my imagination at a very young age. And I remember my mother took me to see a shrink because I didn't want to go outside to play with my cousins. I was happy being with myself and my stuff. And she made me give all this shit away because they said I wouldn't go outside and play because I would just stay in the house and play with my stuff. I didn't want to go outside and play with my cousins because I was going outside and I had 3 younger cousins and I was beating their ass every day. And I got like, why? I'm going outside and they fight me. And then y'all get mad when I beat their ass. Because it was like all 3 of my cousins would try to jump me and I beat their ass. I would beat their ass. And then they beat me like one time and they still talk about this shit. 3 of them now. It wasn't just one, it was 3 of them. Then their 10-year-old cousin, I was like 5 and she beat me up because I kept beating them up because they kept fucking with me. Lonnie beat me up. Lonnie was 10. Like my daughter beating up a 5-year-old. And she was proud. Beat me up. I'm like, girl, how old are you? She was like damn near a teenager fighting me. But it helped my imagination. It helped me create worlds. And it helped me touch and tap into what I can tap into now. Because without that, because spirituality, you have to have imagination with spirituality. Because you have it, how do I want to put this? But like I said earlier, if you can conceptualize this, there's a word I want to say, but it doesn't. So I want to try to find another word because the word is open, and that's not what I want to put in there because again, you can be open to attachments, but when you can conceptualize things, it's not that you're open, but it turns on. I guess that's a better word. It turns on ideas and possibilities. It'll turn on ideas and possibilities that you can go amongst in your own world and start creating. Again, when you close your eyes and you start meditating, people don't realize is what you are seeing, you are creating. You start seeing bubbles or circles or whatever comes when you close your eyes, you are creating that. Now, at a certain point, you do start whatever the ethers or whatever you go through, you do start experiencing some of that. So. But yeah, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna read a little more of this. So this is so this is from what I was saying last night. We had one general talking about how they want to enslave the people. In obedience to the verbal instructions from the other guy, I admit the following report. he's talking about the Western Military District. Since the early part of September, I've commanded that district. The passion and prejudice of various communities have been displayed in most unequivocal manner, not only by word, by deeds. They reinstated all the former Confederate officers to their offices. I could record here many acts done by with people which would make clear what I am now discussing and perhaps cause a conviction in the last 7 months. I refer to the moment for the treatment of our uniform has received since I came. So he's talking about Northern troops being down there, and maybe some of brothers down there, I'm not sure. These are Northern troops killed by civilian. 5 of my men have been killed, a number wounded, and many fired upon. Before I came an officer, a small number of men were killed, with one exception. No effort had been made by citizens to bring the offenders to justice or assist the military authorities. On the other hand, guerrillas and outlaws received the kindest attention from the residents. My reports as the condition of the freed people contain all I would say on the subject. The outrage upon which has been reported speak more effectively with anything else possibly can. As my soldiers who have been killed and wounded, no efforts made by citizens to protect the freemen or punish those who trespass upon his rights or assist in punishing them. The condition of the freeman is simply this: so as long as he's subordinate after the manner of a slave and not a freeman, he does well and safe from violence. But when he attempts to depart from his old discipline and assert a single privilege, he meets opposition in localities and punished with death. The results from the fact that many, especially ignorant, can see the Negro only as the slave. Negro means Indian. So just a little bit of, this is what they don't want teached. This is what they want hiding. And I'm pretty conservative, but they don't want this taught anymore. They don't want the brutality of Europeans taught. They don't want that taught anymore. They want that hidden. They don't think your children should learn that. They don't think their murder and taking the country by murder should be taught. They just want to start with Martin Luther King in the 50s. That's really what they want. They George Washington chopped the cherry tree, Honest Abe freed the slaves. That's it. World War II, we fought the Nazis. Vietnam, we chased the Viet Cong. But none of their murder. When people are trying to heal ancestral lines from the murderous acts. Now somebody said victimism. No, this is the history. From going back to the Jewish Columbus. I mean, you find, and I'm going to repeat this, Columbus and them was cannibals. Wasn't no beef, wasn't no chickens here, fish, some wild game, rabbits, foxes, whatever, that kind of wild game, but wasn't no pigs, wasn't no chicken, wasn't no cows here. There's European diets. And they started killing people, eating them. The Europeans on with Columbus. You can find that. There's a woodcut. They try to call the people savages, but you see what's going on. You see the Europeans having a barbecue. They try to put, the Indians is the one that's, holding arms and legs, but this is done for them. It was his third trip he started bringing that shit over here. So they don't want that taught. It is on you to learn it. Video games did more than damage. Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, think about, and I only mention Fight Club because he talks about how something is recalled. Like it ain't recalled if 1 or 2 people have, like my Land Rover. My Land Rover, they had to take it back because something would happen where a motherfucker wouldn't stop. You would press on the brake and the fucking car wouldn't stop. After the second, third time of that, I took it right back. I'm like, hey, what? They traded, gave me another car. I mean, literally the car would not stop when you touched on the brakes. So, trying not to lose my point. I think I'm kind of losing my point. How long I've been going on? Oh shit, this long? Okay. Yeah, I've lost it. Sorry. It's not coming back. But when things don't work, you should expose that they don't work. I guess that's what the point what I was making. When things don't work, expose that they don't work. That's all. Oh, but video games. Oh, this was my point. Yes, okay. I remember now. Now, look at how many teenagers, and I was telling my daughter this the other day. Look at how many teenagers thought that it was more important to read the text than to say their life in a car. I'll say it again. Look at how many teenagers thought it was more important to read a text than to say their own life. They thought that if they didn't read that text as soon as they got it, their life was over. And so a lot of them got killed that way. But the government already knew, because, you know, text is 2D. We're up to 5G. 2G was text. 2G was text. They already knew what it would do to teenagers. And you can look those up, definitely. They already knew that teenagers were going to die in a vast amount of numbers because teenagers would think that the text was so important that at that moment in their life, there was nothing more important than receiving that text. They knew that it would kill teenagers driving. And look how long they had to do a campaign to tell them don't text and drive. They didn't do it when 2G was allowed. Shit, 2G was, what I talked about, the Sky Pagers was 2G for that matter. Sky Pager was a message. It was a text. It was a one-way text, but it's still a text. You think I'm driving and in rush hour and I'm going to quit looking at rush hour to read a fucking text? But they knew that teenagers couldn't resist it. And so not preparing teens before, they wait till a bunch of them died. When they already knew that text was going to be harmful to children. And they ain't do nothing about it till later. It's funny. There used to be a show that came on Cinemax or Showtime that had an episode called The Washitonians, basically saying George Washington was a cannibal. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I don't think I ever checked that out. I mean, I came across where the first one of Columbus' men was like going crazy and he just had to have meat. And he talked about killing the person. I'm reading this stuff, and this one of Columbus' people is talking about the person he killed solely so he could eat them. And he talked about how the flesh tastes. And this is, I mean, this ain't hidden. This is shit you can find. I'll try to find those woodcuts if I still have it. My Pinterest is all messed up. But there's woodcuts you can find. I know there's somewhere on my Facebook page. I forget. I used to have to put shit on Facebook. I ain't been on Facebook damn near since October. So I quit taking the bait. I quit giving information out. I still don't get motherfucking dudes who take pictures on Facebook. That shit kills me. Like one of my old teammates. This nigga takes picture on Facebook and duck lips. You know, he does. I'm like, nigga, you 62, 63 years old, and you taking pictures with duck lips. What the fuck is wrong with you? But motherfuckers, you know, motherfuckers be lunching. I mean, you know, now the thing, I mentioned this the other night, the thing is women showing their feet. Like you know, kicking back their legs. So why, when you turn on one page, you see 20 pictures of women and showing their feet? Why do you look on Facebook and you see one expression and 20 other people do the expression? Y'all ain't noticed that? How is it that people that are hundreds of miles away think to do the same thing around the same time? Now, if you don't think that's an enchantment or beguiled, that is all that. All that. What year did I think was the best? I really think 77 to 79 would have probably been the best years far as everybody. Like when Jimmy Carter came in, it seemed like things were really good between everybody. I mean, Europeans didn't say nigga because they got their ass whooped for saying the shit. That Southern shit had eased up for the most part. I know a dude got killed in Mississippi in 1980, but that was a rarity. But it was like things was really kind of like when Jimmy Carter first came in, that must have been January of 76, right? But that seemed to be because, this is right after some of that civil rights stuff, finally got. So I would even say you could even almost go into after the Vietnam War, which would be like 73, 74, when they didn't have the draft. Yeah, I guess you could look at that period because, they was scared. That's why Kent State, I say this all the time, Kent State was fake. Kent State was fake, but Kent State was to scare the students into protesting, to quit protesting. We're going to come on campus and kill you. That's what the Kent State PSYOP was. Because as I mentioned before, they had 600,000 people in Vietnam, plus they had still at one time probably 100,000 people in Germany, and they always keep 30, 40,000, maybe 30,000 in Korea. So Uncle Imbecile was spread thin. And now you got these colleges under attack. They feared people. So that's why you had Kent State. When I was a boy, it was nothing for the college students to riot and fight these motherfuckers. I remember seeing the pictures when I was a cop and they were showing all the rioting, and I forgot. I mean, I was 3rd, 4th grade when the riots was in the early 70s, but I forgot how they put hell on the police, and it was all across the country. And so they had to do PSYOPs because they really had no army that could have quashed anything here. That's why they went so hard against the Panthers. Murder them when they didn't have weapons. Murder them in their sleep. Because there was really no army here to protect the nation. It was all threat. It was all curtains, really. If the people would have wanted to take the nation, that was the time to take it. But the 70s was a harmonic time. And then you got Reagan that brought in that racist shit. That was what Reagan did. It was like, hey, you can be racist. We don't like these motherfuckers, so it's okay to not like them again. That's what Reagan campaigned on. I remember the day he came in, one lady said, oh, they're going to send us all back to Africa, getting that Pan-African shit. But that was the idea, because that's what he was saying. And you saw that racist shit that came back again. And that was from what Reagan did. Now, yeah, I give Reagan props for making them make them Japanese cards over here. But he was the one going across the country saying it's okay to be racist again. We should be racist again. That's kind of what Reagan was grunting on. And that's why when you hear everybody building this motherfucker up, he was what we see. Now, again, you can look up to the OJ things. Things kind of mellowed out again, leading up to OJ. What do you think they do to OJ for? What do you think they did the King thing for? Whenever the country was really getting along and the people were getting along, they create the Rodney Kings. They create the OJ. And OJ really put a deep wedge between people. I mean, it really did. If you look back I remember I remember being at work and just looking at the Europeans' face. And remember, if you look at the old films, brothers and sisters is cheering like it was a victory that OJ got over. And ain't nothing but actors. Ain't nothing but all actors. So that was a good period, but that brought in the period where we see today. And then this PSYOP for the last couple of years is like, yeah, a bunch of followers. Let me see. There's signs that stop eating. Ukrainian ate their own when Stalin starved them out. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. That was signs that stop eating. Wow, that's deep. Had wooden teeth until he started taking the slaves' teeth. don't know about that. That sounds like a good story, but I don't know if he took slave thieves. I mean, I imagine they could. Um, Blood sacrifice from around. Didn't Aztecs practice this? And currently Europeans have been practicing for a while. Not sure if the Mayans did it. Now, there's really no proof of the Mayans. There really ain't proof of even the Aztecs. Like my mother said in Belize, the people playing the game they would, if you played the sacred ball game and you won, they would kill you. Now, I did this probably a year ago talking about this. That makes no sense. And my mother's like, well, I saw the heads. That is some made up shit. That's some made up shit. There is, when you study the Papa Vol, there is no type of sacrifice in there for the games. And that is made up shit. Now, the Aztecs come out of America and they went down into that area. They were first mercenaries. They ruled for about 100 years, perhaps, because when you slaughter a lot of people and you seeing these bodies, you got to make a story. So I look at that as Cortez and them did a lot of murdering. For some reason, a lot of people in South America helped Cortez murder people like them. So I would say it's a mix, maybe. Mayans and Oman didn't practice that shit. There's nothing in their lore about that. But gosh, I don't feel like grabbing this little book my brother gave me about that, which is kind of interesting the way they looked at it. The people that were sacrificed were treated as royalty up until the point they got sacrificed. They were treated really well up until that point. A lot of times they would sacrifice the people that were caught in wars. Prisoners of war, they'd end up killing them. So it's hard to say. Look who's telling the story. So, yeah, but ancient Egypt was demonic and very dark. Well, Egypt had all them Masons over there. Still got the front page of the OJ. Okay. Yep. They really stepped up the deception. I give it to them, no doubt. I can see that point. Hell yeah, OJ trial did bring back the race shit. I remember we watched the OJ trial back in elementary school. I had a classmate who was white and he didn't like the verdict. Yeah, I was working with him. Oh my goodness, you should have saw their faces. The Oregons too. Yeah, I was working with people, and those Europeans was upset for some weeks. And then you go home and you see it on the news, and you see like they would do the split screen. They would show the melanated people on one side and the Europeans on the other side. And when that not guilty for OJ, you heard all the melanated people cheer like they had like OJ had ran another touchdown. The juice was loose. But I mean, the same way of them interrupting the game. I'm at the Mall of America in Great American Sports Bar watching the game. Just done had dinner in their restaurant. I'm out watching the game, having a beer, and then this stupid OJ shit takes the game away. I was like, hey, get this shit up off here. Fuck OJ. So, yeah. I was like, fuck OJ. I don't care about OJ. Fuck him. Show the game. Hakeem was killing him. But yeah, it made them funky. It really made them funky. And it has never went away from making them funky. Because we looked at it as a victory. It's like this Floyd shit. People looked at Floyd as a victory. They looked at the Dante thing when she got a couple years. Not so much. The brother just got his case dismissed. The Muhammad that's supposedly shot in front of his, which that's the stupidest story ever. I could never think the only time, I don't know, maybe it's different here, but most of the time I worked by myself. The departments I worked for, we worked by ourselves. We didn't ride with partners. The only time you rode with somebody is when you was training. But once your training was over, we was by ourselves. So why it was two people, maybe Minneapolis, that was all they did, I don't know. More cars you got out, the more area you can cover. So two people is kind of a waste. But I could not see any scenario where I would shoot across my partner's face. and they supposedly only went, that's all they supposedly did. It's just he heard somebody hit the car and he just waited till they looked up, not shot through the back window. because the sound came from the back of the driver's side. So why didn't he pull out his pistol and shoot through the back window? No, he waits till she's right there. You know, and he's like, oh, I only had a couple seconds to decide. So it seems like some bullshit. It was the Knicks versus the Rockets. Yeah. Knicks versus the Rockets. That's right. They've been faking things from Trayvon, Floyd. Yep, 33s. Trayvon. Yep, his daddy was. Yep. They had that story that his grandparents left their niece in a hot car. Yeah. I remember that story. Yep. Left her in a hot car so she could get her hair done. But it was a story in Michigan about that too. Same story. Girl went in there and left their children in a hot car to bake while she got her hair done. There's a story in Michigan like that too. So, well, I've been going almost 2 hours, so I ain't got nothing going on tonight, but tomorrow. But still, I think 2 hours is enough of me running my mouth. So I'll do the divination for those that need a little push, a little wind tomorrow. And so, again, you look at our language and you see how they copied signs. This is Omen, Mayan. It's called Kib. It means owl, grace, trust, inner voice of knowing, intuition, falling of inner guidance, galactic conduit, reception, mystic transformation, divine communication, cosmic consciousness, golden pillar, ferryman staff, interdimensional guides. Symbol of staff, rod, or owl. The number is 16. The color is indigo, blue, or gold, like the Aggies. Herbs is eyebright. Flowers, lily, calla lily. Flower essence is of rose, webenia, earth and galactic attunement. Scent is lily of the valley or honeysuckle. Stones are blue gold stones and double terminated quartz. It is a fire element. And if you want a little push for manifesting tomorrow, the energy is coming from the south, baby. Shadow wisdom, lacking trust in your inner knowing, your ability to feel and act on guidance from the spirit. But the way you can transform it is go within, establish your divine connection, become a direct conduit for the spirit. Trust your mystical intelligence and attune yourself to the clear signals from your inner guidance. Harmonic wisdom is grace, mandra. So reach out your arms above your head and to a V, which means galactic communication. Come together and touch the third eye. So I guess you would go do something like this. Then you would go this kind of, while saying, I take up my staff, my power. I am the transcendent splendor of the night blossom lotus atop your golden luminous staff. So I did not do the light pulse. See if I can find it quickly. If not, I'll have to switch that. Oh, here it is. The light pulse of Gib. This is the 16th of the 20th light pulses in the sacred calendar. And the base energy of this light pulse is a hardened, strong will. Ideas do not change easily because of others' opinions. If you're born in the light pulse of Gib, you tend to keep to yourself above it all, above criticism. Beneath all this confidence, Gib is troubled by guilt and a deep fear of rejection, imposing a strong influence on Gib's self-esteem. Though quite talented or knowledgeable, you feel overshadowed by the life of others. This challenge is to remember you have a lot to offer and to lighten up on yourself. And again, the light pulse would be this. That kind of deep. So, depending on how deep you want to get into it. I want to get into it, man. Getting harder and harder to live among these sheep. I'm telling you. Well, just remember they're sheep. And so they have, it's like what they call it, a non-functional player in the video game. That's what they are. They thought smack Chris. You know, the non-players. They're the non-players. That's it. Nothing else. So moral, it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. Civilization builders. The civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. And remember, as you go around your day, remember, I am another yourself. And as each and every one of you rest in your infinite creation ball field, which they call a bed, may you rest well, and may everything in your home, everything in your room protect you, and may you be protected from any outside source. So make everything in your room, in your home, be enough to protect you. And those who have to work tonight, may the rest of your time be safe. May you be able to drive home safely. And when you can rest, where your rest be joyful. And remember, love just is. It's not, has nothing else. It's just love is, and that's the end. And as they say, the days are long, but the years are short. So make the best out of your day and have love in your heart as many days as you possibly can. As the witch says, the harmony is love and over above. Love or above. That's kind of how you want to keep your energy. And we got shit that fucks with that, but that is where you want to keep the energy. Well, y'all, it is time. It is time. Well, thank you. Thank you, Pale Horse. It is time for me to go on into my great blue wander. And as I leave you, I will leave you with the transformation of the Were Man. As we transform, we have the ability to transform into whatever we need to transform. But the American energy, a lot of it is with the cat. So we have this kind of consciousness. So we give Shorty to you the transformation. This is Omen and not Mayan or not Aztec. This is Omen, baby. So I am your super funky hero, Big Pontiac. Till we meet again, say less.